We're going to tighten this. See how this has some slack? Gotcha. We're going to just pull that piping and tighten that all the way up around her neck, and it'll pull down taut, and then it'll give her some lift like you drew.
Okay.
My name is Melissa Shepard. I'm the costume shop manager, and we are currently working on Measure for Measure. It is our last show of a very long semester. We normally do 6 shows a year. This semester we've done 6 shows so far. So we are chugging along at a good pace.
My name is Jana Goldentool. I'm resident costume designer. The process is actually very similar every time. It only varies by size of the show, size of the cast, and of course time period. Drawings and renderings and color also a big part of it. After that, the work begins here in the shop, and then that's when you communicate with the shop manager, who breaks down this work into projects for students.
I'm Jessie Eichberger. I'm the costume designer for Measure at the University of Louisville. I'm a super senior, so this is my 5th year, and after this it'll be off to graduate school for costume design, actually. So this is the costume shop. It's sort of our home, you could say. Everything happens here. It's an environment that I would liken to almost a roller coaster. It's sort of like a small family. So it's sort of one of those work environments that you dream about. I mean, every once in a while we have our little strifes, but then it always works out and everybody just goes home and is happy at the end of the day. And it's how it's supposed to work. You know, theater is a collaborative process.
Shakespeare is usually our largest show of the year, both in numbers in the cast and just sort of the scale of it. It tends to always be a bigger production, and this is kind of the biggest show we'll do this year. So that energy is always kind of hectic, but then it's great to get it done and to see the work. It's something that students can all take a project and say, hey, I made that from start to finish, and take pictures of it for their portfolio. So these kind of plays really provide the students, I think, the resource to carry this work out of the college and into the real world. And so I'm always proud to be part of that.
My name is Charles Nasby. I work as the scenery technician here for the university for the theater department. In this case, I'm doing exactly what I do on every show, kind of orchestrate the process of construction for Measure for Measure. The students here primarily work in a variety of positions. We have students who are on scholarship who are considered to be assistants to the production staff. And they work about 15 hours a week around their class schedule, and they work as scenic carpenters. They work as master electricians, where they deal with the lighting. So with that, they're gaining a lot of just life skills, and those skills go outside of the university and outside of the theater. Those are really skills that anybody would love to have.
Take your dry brush and do the same thing I'm doing over on the lighter one. My name is Holly Sullivan. I'm a senior here at U of L, and my role for Measure is the student scenic designer. Today we're putting the finishing touches on the masking walls, which will be the main portion of the scenescape that we're doing for the play. There's a lot of research that goes into it as far as where the play is taking place, what you want the scenery to look like, how it can be done, materials to be used, and I use AutoCAD to draw out my stuff, my plans and so forth. So I did a lot of work on that. But I am learning a lot about this technique, and I find it very exciting.
People are being exposed to a process that has a completion to it, and they get to repeat that over the year, which gives people closure. Very often in your careers, you're doing the same task day after day. In this environment, you're constantly revisiting and rebirthing, letting something have life and then letting it go. And I think that that's a great feeling as a theater person, to invest everything you have into a process, and then at the same time being able to let it go. So that's how I see it.
Okay, give me 17 again. Take this out. My name is Michael Autois. I'm the production designer for the University of Louisville Theater Arts Department, and I'm the lighting designer on this production. You start with the script, read that a couple of times usually. In here, Lauren. Okay? Raise it just a touch. You read the script and make some decisions, get some input like time of day, time of the year, place, those kind of big things. And then a lighting designer usually sees rehearsals. After seeing the rehearsal, you take your lighting inventory and the floor plan of the set and the floor plan of the theater and a section, and you go home and do the plot. The plot is, this is a little version of the plot, looks like so. In our institution, we're able to give it to some very competent students who will hang the plot and cable it and have it ready for me to focus. We have the lighting set up that will light the entire stage, and then it's arranged so that I can turn specific lights off and turn specific lights on so I can see what I want to see when I want to see it. That's the number one responsibility of the lighting designer. It's called selective visibility. To be good at lighting, I would imagine that there would be the same responsibility or same attributes that any artist would have. They have to be able to conceive in their own mind what they want the light to do. And then they have to have the patience and dedication to execute it. There's an old kind of truism about scenic and costume designers tend to get paid for their taste, their good taste. Lighting designers get paid for their paperwork. They're organized and efficient and accurate, hopefully, okay, as well as having a sense of artistry. You need to raise it, my love. It's the most important aspect of all theater, okay? There is, in the Bible it says, somewhere in the Bible it says, there is nothing unless light reveals it. So in the dark, the actors don't do so good. It's about that simple. This is good, Lauren.
Hello, what's the news with you?
Young man is carried to prison.
I am Dr. Rinda Fry. I'm an associate professor in the Theater Arts Department, and I'm the director of graduate studies for the program. And I'm the director of Measure for Measure. Acting is very different from directing in that it's like riding on a roller coaster. You have to give yourself up to it. You know pretty much where that roller coaster is going to go, but you don't really know it till you experience it. Whereas directing, you're creating the roller coaster and helping the actors learn how to ride it. So yeah, I think it's very important for the actors to trust one another because they're out there, to use another metaphor, flying high like in the circus. As a director, the experience of watching opening night is different even than for a costumer or a set designer who often feel like they've birthed their baby at the tech rehearsals. And they know that they have a product. It's not the human beings, you know, that social interaction as much as it is that fabric or that set. For a director is the most important person involved in the show until the play opens, and then you have no function at all. You're just totally superfluous. So it's a very humbling experience to be there opening night. And it's also really thrilling because it reminds me every time that this is an actor's medium, much more than a director. I always tell my actors right before we go up that our main focus as actors is to create community, to interact with one another in ways that are deeply meaningful, that we all need in this society, but we don't always get anymore. And the theater provides that. And as they've developed this community and our own little society. As we get to the tech rehearsal, they open that up to include all of the designers, all of the people working backstage, all of the artists involved in it, and just technicians. And then the final community is to open to the audience. And that's the ultimate one that changes every night and is the most rewarding.
There's things that are hollow, like bones are hollow, parties where the feast is big.
How now? Which of your hips has the most profound scientific?